So Soros, I think that is the name of demon. So he hates not India or Modi or Russia or Putin or Islam or Erdogan or Trump. He hates everything that is good, beautiful, strong, and traditional. He he is a modern version of Kali Yuga. He is a manifestation of Kali Yuga and a demon Kali who tries to destroy any kind of order, any sacredness, any kind of vertical organization, and promote everything that is toxic, that is morbid, that is unhealthy, that is perverted. So gender politics, feminism. He now in India he started, and now he continues to foment the revolt of Dalit against the Indian state.
Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, and with the landslide win of Trump in November, we're already beginning to see the effects of the golden age, as it were, of what the MAGA administration will be like. I mean, market's already up, got a potential $100,000 Bitcoin on the horizon, real estate is finally correcting, but there's even more. Not only are things improving for we, the people, already before Trump even gets into office, but frankly, the best part is that the old globalist world order is crumbling. And this is no more exemplified than in the slow but sure decay of the George Soros empire. It brings me so much joy to report that George Soros's Open Society Foundations, which has funded Black Lives Matter and migrant caravans and other social justice Democrat disasters, is indeed closing many of its offices worldwide, and it's laid off over 40% of its staff. You heard that right, 40%. Gang, we are winning, and it's time for you to get into the fight. You know, one thing that the woke elites have taught us, I have to admit, one of their more poignant tactics is to generate exorbitant amounts of wealth and then reinvest that wealth in communities for the purpose really of just taking control of like the mindset, the worldviews of the people. I mean, just think about just what Soros has done. He makes billions of dollars and then he invests comparable billions into programs that literally destroy our civilization. They destroy everything that's true, good, and beautiful. But then that begs the question, doesn't it? A question that needs to be asked of all of us. What are we investing in to save civilization and awaken truth, goodness, and beauty in our world today? Although we won the battle with the presidency, how are we going to build an infrastructure to win the war for generations? Well, joining me today is my good friend and owner of Kingdom 320, Jeff Rakowski. And before we get into everything, I just want to say that Jeff is literally helping thousands of you, so many of you Turley talkers out there, invest in real estate, not just to make money, which is part of it, but to go even further, to begin the long legacy process of building back our country, investing in the renewal of civilization. If you're interested in learning how you can be a kingdom builder with Jeff, who is, you could think of Jeff as sort of the anti-George Soros, just click on that link below and book a time with him and his team to see how you can begin actively defeating the globalists. Jeff, welcome back, my friend. Great to see you again.
So good to be with you, Dr. Steve. The anti-George Soros, I think that's one of the greatest compliments I've ever been given. Thank you so much.
I figured you'd like that. That's right. That's right. The anti-secular, anti-Soros guy. No, absolutely. So, I mean, you know, what, in your opinion, what do you think is going on here? You're on the front lines of this with the MAGA win. Yeah. What does this do for the economy, for the people, and for your specialty, the real estate world? And how can people now begin taking back ground in our world?
Yeah, it's a big question, and it's an exciting question, and I agree with your opening statements. I really feel, along with many other economists, and that we are stepping into a golden age. over these next 2 to 4 years, especially, and then hopefully we'll get Mr. J.D. Vance to step in for the following 8. I mean, it really has the potential just to really see some amazing things for the American people. And really, the biggest thing that the MAGA win means is we're stepping back into the philosophy of America first, where we just lived 4 years under President Biden and Harris, where it was very clear that they were not putting the needs of our country first. So number one, we all flew on an airplane. We all know we got to put the oxygen masks on ourselves first to help other people. So with President Trump stepping back in, we have a new sheriff in town that is basically saying, I'm putting America first. So what it means for the economy is, if you read through President Trump's economic plan, he's proposing, and he'll get it done, is lower inflation. And we're already starting to see that happen just with the shifts in the market that you mentioned a moment ago. So lower inflation, inflation has been one of the greatest taxes on the American people over the last 4 years. And there is a level of inflation that is healthy. And I believe President Trump is going to return us to those margins. And then when you look at his proposed tax cuts, and not just the tax cuts, but the elimination of waste. I love what we're seeing from Elon Musk and Vivek. And, I mean, they're going to go in and expose so much inefficiencies, so much government waste. I served in the U.S. Navy for 4 years, and I remember managing a little budget, and we would only need about 60% of that budget, to operate and to do what we needed to do. But we would always instruct it, just spend all the money anyways, or they're just going to cut our budget back. So they're going to expose all of that stuff. I was just reading this morning, we have about 6,000 government buildings that are sitting vacant that the taxpayers are just paying money to heat, to air condition, and, to furnish. So things like that, I think we're going to be very, very pleasantly surprised when we see not just the tax cuts come through, but the elimination of waste. And when you look at his proposed plan around tariffs, there's a lot of negativity around tariffs where they say, oh, that's a horrible plan. It's just going to increase the cost of some goods and services. And there is some truth to that, but it's going to increase the cost of some goods and services from foreign countries. So, but what's going to happen, though, it's going to boost and increase domestic production. And that's the America First mentality. That's going to get more money flowing in our economy. It's going to produce more jobs for Americans here in the homeland. So I couldn't be more excited. And then when he rolled out his plan to eliminate income taxes, that would be one of the greatest raises that the American people have ever got in my entire lifetime. And when you look at, deportation, just deporting illegal immigrants that are committing violent crimes. I mean, that's going to reduce crime. That's going to enhance neighborhoods. It's going to pull some stress off of the housing market. So really, I mean, long story short, Dr. Steve, it's just we're going to see lower inflation. We're going to see more money in Americans' people in their pockets. And in terms of
golden age,
that's what it is. And in terms of the people, it's I think of a scripture in the Bible in Proverbs where it says, when the righteous rule, the people rejoice, but when the wicked are in power, the people groan. And I think we've endured a lot of groaning over the last 4 years, but I think we're going to see, you're already feeling the optimism come back, and you're seeing the people that President Trump is surrounding himself with, not career politicians, business owners, investors that know how to get the job done.
Right. God, I mean, literally, people like Musk and Vivek, they don't need to be there. They've got all the money, power they need. They don't have to be. They're there because they want to be there. And it's so awesome to see Trump surrounding himself with so much, intellectual and financial firepower and might there. It just, the left loves to try to paint Trump as this, narcissistic egoist. Right. A narcissistic egoist is not, he's got to be the biggest guy in the room. He's got to be, and he can't be threatened. Right. Like, he has Trump has no problem bringing the best and brightest from all over to surround him. He loves it. He just seems to thrive off it. You mentioned the empty buildings, and I think that's a pretty good pivot. Yeah. What do you predict is going to happen to the real estate world as more and more Americans essentially get like you're predicting, more money in their pockets as inflation lowers, as
Yeah.
incomes go up. I mean, apparently Doge is even talking about proposing a flat tax now. Just there's so many amazing things happening. It seems like it's almost impossible that we're not going to see an economic boom. Where does real estate come into all of that?
Yeah, it's a great question, and really, I think of four things that President Trump has proposed, and we'll be going into motion. Is first and foremost reducing interest rates. I believe nobody has a crystal ball, but I believe you'll see that happen relatively quickly in the first half of 2025. That's something that's very easy for him to facilitate. So I'm super confident in that, and he's also talked about opening portions of federal land to allow for new construction. And, over the past 4 years, especially, one of the biggest drivers, really two drivers of home prices, well, number one was inflation, which we're seeing, return to normal levels, but also a housing shortage. And that's just simple supply and demand. As long as there's more people that need housing, looking for housing, than there's housing is going to increase. But we haven't been keeping up with that demand. So by opening up, portions of federal land for new constructions, and also just eliminating unnecessary regulations, with which President Trump's a real estate guy. That's his background. He understands this, and the government has put so much red tape that investors have to jump through that it's almost not even worthwhile in many states, especially Democratic states, to even build new housing. So you're going to see a lot of those, a lot of that red tape lift, a lot of those, regulations that just increase the cost on the investor side, that ultimately gets passed on to the home buyer. So we have some good things on the horizon, and many tax incentives that he's laid out that are going to support first-time home buyers. So really, in my mind, what you're going to see, Dr. Steve, is you're going to see home ownership and just people owning real estate in general increasing. Over the last 4 years, I really believe there's been an agenda in the Harris-Biden administration to turn our country into a renter nation.
Yeah.
Every single year over the last 4 years, we've seen the percentage of people renting their primary home increasing. And that's just not how it should be. So we're going to see more real estate in the hands of the American people. And as you know, Dr. Steve, real estate has created more wealth than any other asset class, on planet Earth. So the more wealth in the hand of the American people is a good thing.
Yeah, I learned that from you. I was so fascinated by that. But like you said, yeah, I mean, upwards 70%, 80% of millionaires.
74.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's not even it's not even close to. There's no close second, for example. What you're saying there is so interesting. What I love about what you do is that you're a civilization builder, and I'm curious. So when you not only help people become successful in real estate, but then you advise them in terms of how to use their wealth for good, particularly for
Right.
saving civilization. What can you give us a little bit of an insight into that? How do you advise those who are invested in real estate to use it in such a way that promotes and builds a civilization of faith, family, and freedom?
Yeah, I mean, to me, that is the essence and the reason I believe God wants us to create wealth. When you look at the Bible, many people don't know that the Bible says that God has given us the power to create wealth.
Right.
Why would God give us the power to create something that is not good or is bad, type of thing? But unfortunately, many American patriots haven't been using that power, but we've seen people like you mentioned, George Soros, using that power and then using the wealth for wicked things. So really what we teach our students, and really our philosophy, is when, we believe wealth creation is important for three reasons. First and foremost, we have to provide for our families. And real estate is just a proven asset that has done that better than any other asset class. So we really, going back to the oxygen mask, financially, we need to be breathing to help other people. You can't help a lot of, do good on the earth with your money if you don't have money to take care of your own needs. So first and foremost is, helping people get a plan together to provide for their families, and then also provide for future generations. Many of us, including myself, I wasn't left a financial inheritance. I was left really a poverty mindset to work hard in school, get good grades, and get a job, and hope I could save my money, for retirement one day. But to answer your question specifically, I believe the ultimate reason that God gave us the power to create wealth above providing for our own families and even future generations is to promote his kingdom on the earth and do good. I'm very focused on buying large commercial apartment buildings. Most recently, my partners and I, we purchased a 982 unit building in Brandon, Florida. It's like a little city, and there's so many families and single moms and kids, that God has trusted into our care by owning that building. So when we buy properties like this, we work with a ministry called Apartment Life that sources pastors and ministers, and we actually let them live in these buildings for free in exchange for teaching people, praying with people, also teaching financial literacy. We tell all of our tenants, hey, you're renting from us now, and we appreciate that. But we believe God wants you to take your own territory, and we're even willing to teach you how to do it. So, things along those lines. And there is right now in our country, Dr. Steve, over the next 12 to 24 months, I've been saying this for a while, there's just one of the most unique opportunities to transfer wealth from the hands of the wicked into the hands of the righteous in residential and commercial real estate. So because of the education that God has blessed me with over the years, we're able to buy properties right now at tremendous discounts. We purchased not too long ago, an apartment complex in Lubbock, Texas, for about $100,000 a door. And prior to even closing on that property, the property appraised at $145,000 a door. And there's a lot of doors. So we step into a large amount of just built-in equity. And with that equity, we're able to do some amazing things. We talked last time, I have a couple of students that recently purchased a building and actually are housing sex trafficking victims and things along those lines. What we teach our people and our students is we need to stop viewing life through the lens of just what we need. Really, God put us on this earth to be his hands and his feet and meet the needs of the world around us. And real estate has allowed myself and our community and so many of your listeners that we've been working with and serving, to do just that. So it's really that's really what lights me up the most.
Well, talk about lit up here, because this is so exciting. Let's get real practical. What advice do you have for everyone watching who wants to just grab a hold of this economic boom? I wrote it down, 12 to 24 months of an unprecedented opportunity. What advice do you have for those who want to grab a hold of this unprecedented opportunity, this economic boom that's about to happen?
You got to get in the game. Number one is, right now, when I talk about this opportunity over the next 12 to 24 months, commercial real estate has $1.5 trillion in debt and bridge loans that has to be refinanced. It's one of the biggest reasons why you're able to buy real estate at discounted prices right now. But the average person just doesn't understand it. My mentor taught me years ago. He's like, Jeff, you know what poor means? I know what it means, but he's like, well, you know what it stands for? And he says it stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly. Ooh. And right now we have to get educated to first of all, if we don't recognize the opportunity or we don't understand the opportunity, we can never position ourselves to capitalize on that opportunity. So I believe at the end of our talk, you're going to give people the opportunity to talk with my team. And that's one of the first things we do is we educate people on this is the reality. These are the things happening. And if you position yourself properly, to me, it's kind of like if you think of use surfing as an analogy. I lived in San Diego for a while, tried to surf, never really got it down, but we're all in the water, right? In this country, we're all in the water and a wave is coming and we're going to learn how to ride the wave, or a lot of people are going to get hurt by the wave. So we want to help people first understand the opportunity and then educate themselves. All Americans should be educated on how to create wealth and how to buy real estate. Whether you become an investor like many of my students, we're all going to be buying and selling and renting and leasing real estate throughout the course of our life. And so we really believe that, man, we want to help people understand how real estate works. Real estate is actually very simple. It's not easy. You gotta work hard. But understanding how money works and how to position yourself with the right education. And when you get the right education and the right mentorship, then your confidence increases to take action. So that's really what we always tell our students is have faith in God. He is for you. He gave you the power to create wealth for a reason. Get educated and then take action. And that's really what our whole company is designed, is to support people through those 3 steps.
I love it. Passing over opportunities repeatedly.
That's
That is brilliant. That's like the money moment right there. That's incredible. Can you give us just a little bit of a sense of, so if you click on the link below and book a call with you and your team, can you just give us a little taste of what we can expect in that call?
Absolutely. I mean, first and foremost is, before listening to this interview, Americans know there's opportunity in real estate. We know it. We see the TV shows, all of that. Most people are just not sure on what that next step is. And really, the biggest thing that's going to come from that intro call is, what is your next step? And, as it pertains to real estate, there's so many different ways of creating wealth. So many of your listeners that we've had the pleasure to serve, Dr. Steve, they come on the call and they're just like, we're not interested in flipping houses or wholesaling, but, we have a good retirement account and we want to learn, how do I self-direct that, and invest that in commercial, commercial buildings that will produce safe and secure passive income, things along those lines. Some of your listeners come in and they're like, we want to flip houses. We want to do what we're seeing on TV and generate those larger chunks of money. But one of the biggest mistakes I see, people that are new to real estate, is there's so many different strategies and so many different ways of doing it, but they don't really take the time to understand what strategy is best suited for their current situation, where they are in life. I started at 21 years old, coming fresh out of the Navy, and I was broke. Some of our students, they have millions of dollars in retirement and they worked a great career and they just want to protect that money and see it grow. So number one, we're going to help them get clear on your next step. And then really number two is just talk a little bit about, what do you believe God is calling you to do on the earth, and many of your listeners that we have the opportunity to talk to, they have incredible passions to do certain things in politics. In real estate, they see it just as the vehicle, the bankroll, whatever it is that God's asking them to do. So just like so many of your listeners already, if you haven't taken advantage of this opportunity, talk to our team. We're also going to give away what we call our Kingdom 320 toolbox. I don't have time to go through everything in it, but there's just going to be some powerful tools and resources.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Whether you move forward with us or not, that'll help your listeners, get started. But ultimately, at a high level, Dr. Steve, Kingdom 320, we exist to help Christian patriots buy real estate, and we provide all the education, the coaching. We have one-on-one coaching, deal review coaching, all of that, live events, live classes, software to locate distressed properties that are, right in your market. And one thing that's important to say too, and I'll end with this, is you won't talk to anybody at Kingdom 320 on this intro call, any of our coaches, that aren't doing the business. I don't believe in teaching anything I've never done. I always tell my students, the day I stop investing in real estate is the day I'll stop teaching it. Right. So you're going to be learning from people that are on the front lines.
You are practitioners. Yes.
Yes, that's it.
It's not just theory for you guys. You are in the game. That's it, gang. This is amazing. This is why I love working with Jeff. If you feel this tug that you want to save civilization, you want to build civilization. Again, we won the battle with the election, but now it's time to win the war with actually building civilization. Then this is Jeff's Kingdom 320 is a godsend for you. I mean, if you're interested in learning how you can be a kingdom builder with Jeff, our very own anti-George Soros, right? Just click on that link and book a time with him and his team to see how you can begin defeating the globalists for generations. Talk about a wonderful, wonderful calling. Thanks so much, Jeff. It's an honor to always chat with you. Love what you're doing. And thank you so much for all that you're doing with our listeners. They love you. And let's just keep building the kingdom for faith, family, and freedom, man.
Hey, man, such an honor to be on here as always, Dr. Steve. Appreciate you so much.
Right back at you.